Episode 9 is set to end the Skywalker saga and the sequel trilogy itself by writer and director J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, one thing about Episode 9 that a lot of people are really looking forward to seeing in this film are, of course, the various Jedi and Sith lore pieces that will be inserted into the story by J.J. Abrams and Chris. So what's really interesting about all of this is that we do know that Kylo Ren and the Knights of Ren are going to have a lot of screen time in this movie, and will have a major quest within the second act of the film. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film when it comes to some of the set leaks, the set designs, the concept art and storyboard descriptions, etc. One of which has all to do with Kylo Ren, the Knights of Ren, and the Dark Spire in Episode 9. Now, specifically, a description of Kylo Ren and his Knights of Ren on speeders, riding across a bridge that is said to stretch across a river with rapids beneath the bridge crashing into the rocks. It's described that Kylo and his knights are speeding to the entrance of the Dark Spire, a large castle structure that Kylo and the knights go into for the second act of the movie. It's described that the Dark Spire is based on an unknown world in the Outer Rim, just before entering the unknown regions, and contains many secrets of the ancient Sith. It's described that the Dark Spire is very strong with the dark side of the Force, and will be used as a quest by Kylo Ren and the Knights of Ren to learn new truths about the Beyond and the ancient Sith Lords. It's described that there are icebergs and crashed Star Destroyers within the glaciers on the planet in the distance, indicating that there was a battle here decades ago. The castle design is said to be a mixture between Vader's fortress and Maz Kanata's castle. It's also said that many Sith Lords fought inside and outside of the castle during the ancient times and has been around for thousands of years. It's said that this castle structure will connect to a set of future Star Wars films after Episode 9's release. It's described that parts of the Dark Spire have landing pads and even a series of catacombs underneath the structure. So I want to go over a couple of parts about this that really do open my mind up when it comes to the Star Wars universe and where things really seem to be going in Episode 9. Now, we do know that Episode 9 is going to have, of course, some connections to the new Star Wars trilogy, and the first thing that I really do want to point out here is how this castle structure called the Dark Spire is actually going to connect to future Star Wars movies after Episode 9's release. Now, to me, without a doubt, this has something to do with, of course, the new Star Wars trilogy by the creators of Game of Thrones, because we actually have heard, I don't know if you guys heard the big report about a week ago or so, that the new trilogy is going to be based within the Old Republic. Now, mind you, from what we have heard, Disney's version of the Old Republic is going to be set hundreds of years before the events of the Skywalker saga, as opposed to thousands in the expanded universe. This structure, however, has been around for thousands of years. Now, let's not forget that Maz Kanata's castle, at least she has been running that castle for 1,000 years. So this castle structure, the Dark Spire, in and on itself on this unknown world in the Outer Rim, is already older than Maz Kanata's castle, and you can only imagine what has actually happened here. Now, the Dark Spire is also actually said to be a location where a lot of Sith Lords during the ancient times fought a lot of Jedi during the ancient times. We're not quite sure what timeline that really is, you know, if it was still considered the Old Republic back then. We're not quite sure what the Disney canon of that is actually going to be. So what's really intriguing about this, though, is that the Dark Spire is actually very strong with the dark side of the Force. Think, of course, you know, the cave on Dagobah that Luke Skywalker goes into during his training with Yoda. You know, that's a great example in The Empire Strikes Back. So the reason as to why the Knights of Ren and Kylo Ren are going here are to seek new truths about the Beyond, as well as new knowledge about the ancient Sith Lords, in order to learn new truths about the dark side of the Force. I really want to go over the environment of course, whatever world this really is. It's said to have a river underneath this bridge that leads to the actual castle that has a lot of icebergs and rapids going through the bridge and crashing into the stone walls, as well as crashed Star Destroyers in the background inside of the glaciers in the distance. So it seems as though that J.J. Abrams is bringing us to a world that is going to be a world that actually was the location of a major battle between an army of Sith and an army of Jedi that is going to connect to future Star Wars movies, which, by the way, most likely is going to be the new Star Wars trilogy, because we do know that Disney and Lucasfilm want to connect Episode 9 lightly to the new trilogy in order to really give us a good transition into the next era of Star Wars movies. So anyways, guys, let me know what you think about the Dark Spire. I gotta say, I'm very impressed. I'm very excited to see, what this is going to look like on the big screen, especially in IMAX. I think that this pretty much tells us now that this obviously is not Darth Vader's fortress in Episode 9. However, that's not to say that it won't show up in the movie. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to moon, we hear them moans again.